Good afternoon, Steel City. Welcome to the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. A 40th edition will be alive again from the original podcast room of the Black and Gold paraphernalia. On today's show, the Pittsburgh Steelers win in Sin City, but it really looked like a Steel City of a 32-point outburst, the two-game losing streak, and after bashing Tomlin's formula, the Steelers went right back to it, and now are 4-2, beating the Raiders. Hashtag, here we go. Penn State Nittany Lions, now ranked number 3 in the country, overcame their largest deficit of the season, down 14 points at the half. They used the best weapon in college football, Tyler Warren, a listed tight end, but wait, he played 5 other positions to help Penn State defeat USC 33-30 in OT. Hashtag, we are Penn State. The Pitt Panthers are now NCAA football's 20th ranked team as they improve to 6-0. As not an Eli Holstein help, but the Pitt defense seal this win. A very game cow. Team final score 17-15. All hail Pitt. West Virginia Mountaineers get beat at home versus an inducted alumni. The Sun was at quarterback. Rocco Beck of Iowa State, now ranked number 9. In a 28-16 weird setting at Mountaineer Field Saturday night. West Virginia football. Pittsburgh Penguins open the 2024-25 season and get destroyed by the New York Rangers 6-0, causing booing in the first 20 minutes, and PBG Paints Arena being emptied by the middle of the third period. Go on the road for 3 games, take 2 of 3, with one of the Penguins legends hitting a career milestone and leading the NHL in scoring. It's number 71 in your programs of Denny Malkin. Let's go Pens. I will start the show right off with our tremendous sponsors, Planet Jerky, premium beef jerky, the jerky that's on the planet. Seal the deal, wax seals, wax stamps. You bring the seal, we'll bring the deal. And IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports and why we were doing this. And this is the Yinzer Report. Steel City, Pittsburgh, please come join me on my 40th episode live on StreamYard. This is the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
IE Sports Radio fans, be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at @sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Ralph Calise, host of the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Please check out our sponsors. That's Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B, Planet Beef Jerky, and, of course, IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, the reason why we were on the air today. All right, so let's get into some Pittsburgh sports. And we had a football game this past weekend. The Steelers played the Las Vegas Raiders in Las Vegas. And after my rant last week on Mike Tomlin about his formula, Sunday is what it can look like, Mike Tomlin's formula. And with the total home field back in Steelers' favor, it looked like a home game in Pittsburgh with the in Vegas there. Sin City was turned into mini Acrisure Stadium with the towels waving and all that other stuff going on out there with Steeler fans that really came into the building. And Mike Tomlin noted it was a big thing for the Steelers that they went in there and they beat the Raiders 32-13. So they snapped the losing streak. They're now 4-2. And again, with the total home field back in the Steelers' favor, coming up now with the schedule, we are 4-2, and we'll see what happens. But there are some tough games coming up, of course. In this game, Russell Wilson during the week was deemed quarterback number 2, so he was the backup for Justin Fields. Now, Justin Fields had the game; he was the starter. But he had a couple of plays where were a little suspect in the first half. And as I'm watching the game, and you could watch Russell Wilson, he was panting up and down the sideline, his helmet on and helmet off. You could just feel that Tomlin was going to pull Fields and bring him in the game. But that didn't happen. There was a play in the game where Justin Fields threw an interception after the Steelers had a turnover and they were driving for a score, and he threw the ball over the middle. I don't even know who he was throwing it to when it was picked off, but they got bailed out on a roughing the passer penalty on the Vegas Raiders. So they got bailed out with that, and they wound up keeping the ball, and they did wind up scoring. So as we know, we went into Mike Tomlin last week and his formula that I ranted on last week. Last week I had that rant. Mike Tomlin's formula so far this year has been run the ball, Justin Fields, no turnovers, special teams, defense, and win the turnover battle. And he got what he wanted Sunday, and that's exactly what happened. The formula came to his liking. There was a lot of running the ball with Najee Harris. He had over 106 yards. The offensive line was together for the second time this year out of the 6 games due to all the injuries, and then it wound up that the center, Zach Frazier, went out with an ankle injury. So they had a new center in there midway through the third quarter. But like his formula goes, Justin Fields, no turnovers. He had that one that was given back, so they got lucky with that. And they won the turnover battle. I think it was 3-0. And Tomlin got his winning formula back on track, and the Steelers got the win. And it was they are now 4-2. The game produced 183 yards, best of the season. The blocking had combined efforts. The offensive lineman, tight end Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, and the guys on the perimeter. Najee Harris did the running, very heavy lifting and carving. Like I said, he had 106 yards, 36-yard TD. Justin Fields also contributed 2 TDs and converted a key third and fourth downs with his running ability. Thought it was a collective effort, Mike Tomlin, not only the bigs, but the perimeter people. And this was the Steelers' best offense versus an injury-prone also Las Vegas defense. They were missing some guys as well. So he got his win. He got the formula. And now comes this week, Mike Tomlin's press conference, that he's going to roll the ball out there for Justin Fields and Russell Wilson to vie for the quarterback number 1. So this has been going on all year. It was just the fact that Russell Wilson was hurt, and they guided him along until they knew he was 100%, which now Mike Tomlin, after the press conference today, said he was. So he's going to give Russell Wilson QB1 snaps in practice this week. And I could see it already versus the Jets next Sunday. He's going to put Russell Wilson in as the starting quarterback. And Justin Fields did everything he needed to do and what they wanted him to do. And you're going to put this guy on the bench. Mike Tomlin, I believe all year, all offseason, all through the year, this is what he wanted. He wanted Russell Wilson as the quarterback. And Justin Fields just happened to step in and do what he was supposed to do. And now Mike Tomlin is going to get his wish. And this is see what happens. He didn't announce him as the number 1. But the way he was talking in his press conference, it's all leading up to that. So his final words were, they asked him, who's going to be your starting quarterback this Sunday? And the response was, I'll let you guys know before game time. So he's not making his decision till Sunday. So we'll monitor that all week, and we'll see how that goes. So the 2 losses versus the Cowboys and the Colts, they getting back to the game Sunday, the way the offense played, the defense, rather, I'm sorry, the formula for the defense, they gave up a total of 803 yards. In the 3 wins versus the Falcons, Chargers, and Broncos before that, they only gave up 687 yards. So it was almost a 100-yard difference. And they held the Raiders to 275 yards, but most of that was in garbage time at the end when it was 29-7. And Patrick Queen stepped up, which is really his first really good game for the Steelers. He had 13 tackles, 6 solo. Of course, we had our T.J. Watt. His stats were 5 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, and 2 forces for a fumble on the Raider running backs. And he was using the punch-out method. So you have the football in your arm, and he was punching it out. Like he was really punching somebody. He was punching the ball. He did that twice, and the Steelers recovered twice. This was a very interesting stat. The Steelers were winless in Oakland before they moved to Vegas since 1995. They are now 2-0 in Vegas. So can we call Sin City? Can we call it the new Steel City? Cam Hayward played his 200th game as a Steeler player. He had a sack, which was very cool. He's sixth in team history. As far as that, he's the 271st non-specialist ever to be have 60. He's the 65th player to play for one team. So he's sixth in team history with 200 games, and he's 271st in a non-specialist type player. He is the 65th player to play for one team in his career at this point. Other Steelers, of course, we know Ben Roethlisberger, Mike Webster, Heinz Ward, Donnie Shell, and Mel Blount. So like we said, the formula was the defense. This game, the defense had 3 takeaways, 2 fumble recoveries, stopping possible scoring drives, a block punt, which was a key play, in my opinion, of the game, resulting in points. Like I said, after recovering a T.J. Watt forced fumble on a 3rd and 4 at the Las Vegas 24 field through the pick, it was intercepted by the Raiders' Diablo, but roughing the passer penalty on Mike Butler negated the interception, and it gave the Steelers a first and 10 at the Las Vegas 12, and 4 plays later, Fields' TD run made it 12-7 Pitt. Fumble recoveries on opponents in the 30-yard line, the 7-yard line, both punched the ball. This is T.J. Watt. Both punched the ball, type out fumbles by T.J. Watt, and an interception returned to the opponent's 7-yard line. The special teams blocked a punt by backup linebacker Jeremiah Moon. These instances for the defense, special teams making the contributions to the formula that they won't need that high-level new passing game, and it gives Justin Fields the learning to play exactly as he has been running the offense with no turnovers and ending drives in points. Well, Steeler fans, that might be coming to an end this week. So my takeaway on all this is now is when. And this is how I came up with that. Now is when the Steelers can send a defense onto the field that contains dynamic players on every level of the unit, plus special teams that have a punter averaging 47.6 yards per, a place kicker converting of 95.2%, and units blocking field goals and punts in the last 2 games. Now is when the Steelers have to attack an 11-game stretch within a schedule that's more challenging than any other teams over that same period. Now is when they have a defense and special teams that look capable of handling their ends of the bargain. Now is when they're starting to get back some of their walking wounded. Now is when stacking enough wins through those 11 games to get where they want to go and do what they need to do once they get there is going to require more from the offense and a running game. So now is when, because like I said, the schedule now turns back over to the heavy home schedule, which starts next week versus the Jets on Sunday night. They will have 2 games versus both New York teams back-to-back. And yours truly here on the Yinzer Report will be heading out to the Giants-Steelers game. That's Monday night in 2 weeks. So we're packing up the cars. The family's heading out. Me, my son, my wife, my daughter, and my son's girlfriend. We're all heading to Pittsburgh for that Giants-Steelers game on Monday night. Like I said, the home-heavy schedule now comes out. So they've played 6 games now. Mind you, 4 have been on the road, 2 at home. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 6 games left at home. So 6 games at home and 5 games on the road. to finish out the season with the bye is week 9. So they have a tough game coming up. They'll be playing the Jets. As everybody knows, the Jets acquired Devontae Adams this afternoon. He will be now with Aaron Rodgers back in the Jets with their green colors, the Jet green colors instead of the Green Bay green colors. And that's the next game for the Steelers. We're awaiting a quarterback. But in my opinion, I feel Mike Tomlin is just going to pull the rug out from Justin Fields because he wanted Russell Wilson from the start. And I believe that's what's going to happen. So that's that with the Steelers. I just wanted to mention, I wanted to give a shout out to Larry B., who is a Raiders fan. We were, it was funny, Sunday we were texting back and forth about the game because he's a Raider fan, I'm a Steeler fan. And he called it at the beginning of the game. He texted me. He was like, yeah, we're winning 7-3, but you'll be a happy man in 2.5 hours. I promise you the Steelers are going to win this game 44-6. I answered back, I think you're being a little too kind. The Steeler offense isn't really that good. I don't believe we're going to score 44 points. He came back but said, okay, you guys are going to win 33-6. I mean, which he wasn't far off. And he knows his team, and I just wanted to give him a shout-out for that because he nailed it right on the head. The final score was 32-13, and when it was 7-3 Raiders, I was going through my thing. I thought we had no chance, thinking we were going to have no chance early in the game. But like he said, I turned out to be a happy man 2.5 hours later, and the Steelers pulled out the win. So Larry B., shout out to you, my man. Catch his show 3 and Out. He's got the NFL edition and he's got the college edition with Terran Rodriguez. Thank you, Larry. Your Raiders did make me a happy man on Sunday. All right, so let's take a break. When I come back, we're going to talk about some college football. We have a lot to go over with the Pitt Panthers, the Penn State Nittany Lions, and the West Virginia Mountaineers. We will be back right after this. This is the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sport.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great. Here to give you what you want. Here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy awesome white tea. We're coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Are you a fan of Buffalo sports? Are you thinking of changing loyalties and becoming a Buffalo sports fan? Do you even know where Buffalo is on the map? Did you know Canada is closer to Buffalo than New York City? Welcome to the Buffalo Huddle, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Patty Bax. This is a podcast designed for you, the passionate sports fan. I know you love your sports. Who doesn't? I cover Buffalo sports and so much more by bringing in the human elements. I call it Buffalo Sports with a Twist. Join me as we take a journey into the world of Buffalo sports. I guarantee you'll fall in love with Buffalo just like I did. Each week we start with an inspiration, question of the day, a Buffalo fun fact, and our weekly challenge to you, the listener. Come huddle up with me. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time for the Buffalo Huddle with Patty Bax on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. As we say in Buffalo, go Bills!
All right, welcome back. This is Ralph Calise on the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I'm sure Mrs. Patty Bax is riding high after that win last night with Buffalo beating out the New York Jets. I saw her all over the app on Twitter there for our IE Sports Radio group. Congrats, Patty. That was a good win. Good win. All right, let me check the chat before I head into the college football because I couldn't get it up on my screen, but now I got it. And let's see who's out there today. Danny Mann, my nephew. How you doing, buddy? Yinzer Report. Yes, sir. Hey, Angela, have a great show, Ralph. Thank you. Thank you, Angela. Your show was awesome before me on today. Thank you. And Danny Mann again says, big game Sunday night. Yes, it's going to be. You guys are going to have you guys have a new offense. A new coach, and we might have a new quarterback. And Terran Rodriguez, Mr. Steady himself. Good evening, Ralph. Have an amazing show. And he also puts bum that Pitt's women's volleyball lost to SMU. I know I had saw that they had lost. I meant to look something up on it, but I had so much going on with the college football. I kind of bypassed it, but thanks for that update. They also says they have a big test this Sunday against Stanford. And that'll be on ESPN. You can watch that before Steelers Jets. I love it. That is great. Yeah, I'm going to watch some volleyball before the Steelers Jet game. I love it. And Raymond, my nephew's dad, have a great show, buddy. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate all the support. All right, so let's get into the college football because, boy, is there a lot of it going on in the Pittsburgh area. And we'll start off with the Pitt Panthers. They played at Acrisure Stadium. They played the California Bears. So we had that West Coast coming to the East Coast, which they flashed a stat on another game saying that so far this year, there's been only one team that's won, and it was Indiana. So I don't remember who they played. They went out to the West Coast and they won. It might have been UCLA. Yes, it was UCLA. So they were the only team that has crossed coasts and won a game in this crazy alignment here. So, but we'll get into another team that won next after this. So the Panthers beat the Golden Bears 17-15. They were ranked 22nd at the beginning of that game. They're now ranked 20th, as I have down there in the box. They're ranked number 20th to beating Cal by a nose. Desmond Reed scored twice as, at the time, number 22 Pitt remained unbeaten by fending off Cal 17-15. This was the first meeting of Cal versus Pitt since 1966. Desmond Reed had a 72-yard run on a 4th and 1 at Pitt's 28-yard line on the first play of the second quarter, giving Pitt a 14-6 lead with 14:49 left till halftime. This was on display in the first half, causing critical penalties, 7 of them to spoiling Cal's drives for Pitt points for QB Fernando Mendoza was constantly being hit after throwing passes, but playing tough as he wore a blood stain on his arm sleeve. Midway through the first quarter, Mendoza was sacked, but knew the pressure was coming, causing his throws to come out seconds earlier. The sacks did come later on as the Pitt defense recorded a total of 6 of them. And Pitt defensive end Jimmy Scott had a career 3 sacks. Pitt managed just 277 total yards, nearly 250 below its season average coming in, and nearly nothing in the second half. Pitt actually relied on the aforementioned 2 first-half TD runs by Desmond Reed and a record-tying 58-yard field goal by kicker Ben Stalls. That's Ben Stalls. I call him Mr. Automatic. And it gave Pitt an 8-point lead at halftime, and then they held on for dear life as Cal tried a couple of times at the end to get in field goal range, but they had some silly turnovers. Pat Narduzzi spent part of the week grousing about his defense, the one that had served as more of a bystander than a difference maker during the Panthers' unbeaten start. And as I just mentioned, the display was on there with the rushing of the quarterback and the sacks. His players were listening. Number 22 at the time, they're now number 20, regained some of the swagger that's been his trademark for most of Narduzzi's decade-long tenure, racking up 6 sacks to cover for the suddenly sputtering offense in a 17-15 win over California on Saturday that pushed the Pitt Panthers to 6-0 for the first time in 42 years. So Pitt's next game will be next Thursday, not this Thursday, next Thursday versus Syracuse in Acrisure Stadium. So that should be a good game. Pat Narduzzi also bemoaned his team's lack of sacks coming in, which is because outside the norm, the Panthers during the past 10 years on the sideline, the defense turned back the clock in the second half to bail out the offense that stumbled for the first time this season. The Panthers will likely hover in the 20s when the poll is released on Sunday after an ugly grinded out affair. And as I mentioned, they are number 20. The guy on the Cal, the quarterback, who played a really good game, he passed for Fernando Mendoza, passed for 272 yards and a TD. And tight end Jack Endies finished with 8 catches for 119 yards. And both of them are roommates. So it was a roommate to roommate. Sorry about that. Roommate to roommate TD pass. The Bears missed on the 2-point conversions that would have tied the game with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And Pitt is now 2-0 in the ACC. And Reed, the real star of this game, 16 rushes, 120 yards, 2 TDs. And he had 1 reception for 19 yards, 139 all-purpose yards. He has 835 all-purpose yards from scrimmage. He was second coming into the game in that category, but he is now 8th. So that'll do it for the Pitt Panthers. Let's get to the next college game, which is Penn State. Hold on, I see some comments coming up. Patty Bax, there she is. Hope you're having a great show. Yes, Patty, I am. Sabres play Penguins tomorrow night. Yes, we'll be talking about the Penguins shortly. Good luck to you in both those games. All right, so let's get into Penn State now. Penn State flew across. They're the other West Coast team that flew across, and they are the second team to win in that coast-to-coast realignment in the Big Ten, and they came up with a 33-30 win in overtime over USC Trojans. This was the first game ever against each other in the Big Ten, and the first time at USC that Penn State has played since 1991. Penn State rallied back to beat USC 33-30 in overtime on Tyler Warren's record day. Guys, if you have not seen Tyler Warren play a game and you don't really watch Penn State, just go out there and Google his highlights for the year. This guy just does not play tight end. He plays all over the field. I'm going to talk about a play that he did in this game to help the Nittany Lions win. Beginning of the game just showed to be a classic game in the new Big Ten realignment. Penn State's first possession at their own 11-yard line. Penn State shows the offense looking unique on a new unique drive that used 3 quarterbacks. They had 6 first downs on different offensive plays. The aforementioned tight end Tyler Warren, in a career game, was used in 6 different positions. One play stood out. Drew Aller, the quarterback for Penn State, on a 3rd down and 4 yards, middle of the drive. Aller is standing in the shotgun, and he's faking like he can't hear, and he's going like this. He's turning towards the sideline. While he's faking, he can't hear the play. Tyler Warren sneaks under the center after coming in motion and rushes for a 5-yard gain and a first down and a critical play in the drive. They got it to a 4th and goal, and a TD pass from Aller to Warren was negated on a offensive pass interference. The penalty was on Josh Fleming, and Barker hit a 34-yard field goal, which was good. It was 3-0 Penn State with 4:53 left in the first quarter. Just an insane play. That wasn't the only play he made. Wait till you hear the next one he made. USC then got the kickoff. Now this was in a matter of 5 minutes. USC, they got the kickoff, and on the next play, Quinton Joyner on a 75-yard reverse type run. 1-play drive, 7-3 USC with 4:38 left in the first quarter. It was a 1-play, 15-second drive. So they're up 7-3, and stuff is going crazy in California there with Penn State and USC, and it's only the first quarter. So as we mentioned, Penn State, they traveled about 2,500 miles across the continent on a first road trip in the new Big Ten. The Nittany Lions then spent most of Saturday playing from behind against USC. Like I mentioned at the beginning, they were down 14 points at half. That was the biggest deficit of the season. Thanks to several clutch throws by Drew Aller, a few key defensive stops, and one of the greatest games by a tight end in FBS history, the Nittany Lions can make the long trip home with their unbeaten record and national championship dreams intact. Well, they got a long way to go before a national championship. They got a bugaboo out there that they got to win a game, and it's called Ohio State. Tyler Warren caught 17 passes to tie the FBS single-game record for tight ends. Ryan Barker hit a 36-yard field goal in overtime, and at the time, number 4, Penn State, which is now number 3, rallied from a 14-point deficit for a 33-30 win versus USC. Warren made his TD catch in the third quarter at the end of a trick play, which Warren snapped the ball back to quarterback Ben Perbula, who lateraled it to Aller. Warren, a senior, set a record for most receptions by an opponent in UFC's 137-year career in football history. So this play was just totally insane. They had the backup quarterback take the snap. Now the line shifted. So as the line is shifting, you could see Drew Aller was lined up. He came on the line. So he was the last guy on the line with the other lineman, and he took the snap, pitched it back to the backup quarterback, Perbula. He lateraled it over to Aller, the real quarterback, and he throws a 32-yard touchdown pass to Tyler Warren, who first off got pass interfered with and made like a one-hand juggling catch in the end zone. Just an insane play. Like I said, Warren had an insane game. Drew Aller said, "I'm super happy for him. I think he's shown that he's the best tight end in the country through the first part of the season." The Nittany Lions slowly on their longest regular season trip since 1991, but finished impressively after going up 3-0. Penn State trailed 20-6 at halftime before the offense got moving. USC's Kyron Hudson then caught a go-ahead touchdown pass from Miller Moss at 5:56 left, but Aller converted 2 4th downs with desperate passes to just Julian Fleming before Singleton was left alone for his tying catch. USC drove to the midfield in the final seconds, but Riley curiously used no timeouts, extended the Trojans' drive before Jalen Reed picked off Moss with 5 seconds left. Riley said he didn't want to leave any time for Penn State to make a final drive. So that was before they went into overtime. So takeaways from the game: Penn State came back 3 times to tie the game. In the final 20 minutes, Ryan Barker hit the 34-yard field goal in overtime to win it. Drew Allen set a single-game career passing record that day, with 391-yard passing, despite 3 INTs. Penn State down 20-6 was its largest deficit of the season so far. The Nittany Lions outscored USC 27-10 after the first half. And this was the travel thing. Penn State flew 6 hours across the country to defeat an unfamiliar and quality opponent, and did it in overtime. It was reported that the team plane was too large to leave a nearby campus airport by Penn State. The team had to bus it to Harrisburg Airport to get off to LA. Can you imagine that? The team plane didn't even fit on the airport to fly out to go to California. Penn State becomes the second team in the Big Ten to travel coast to coast and win, like I mentioned before. After the win, did Penn State squash USC's playoff hopes? I will let the SoCal, North Cal, West Coast shows get into that. Right now, we are Penn State, but right now the Nittany Lions are in a complete control of their own destiny for the postseason and the Big Ten title and for a first-round bye. And Tyler Warren's stats, folks, at quarterback, he was 1 for 1 with 9 yards passing. He had 1 rush for 4 yards on a play in the first quarter. Receiving, he had 20 targets, 17 receptions, 224 yards, receiving 1 TD, 19 total touches on the offense, and 79 total plays. That's just insane. That guy was basically in on every play. He was in on every play of the game. Insane. And he played one play at center. All right, so now that's it for Penn State. They are, I think they play Wisconsin next week, and that's going to be a night game in Wisconsin. All right, so let's get into West Virginia. They wound up losing to Iowa State 28-16. I didn't realize how high Iowa State was ranked coming into this game. They really are a good team, and they have a quarterback named Rocco Becht, Becht. Now, West Virginia fans, I'm sure you remember Anthony Becht. So he's Rocco Becht's father. So it was just a weird scene in West Virginia that Anthony Becht, the father of the quarterback of Ohio State, Rocco Becht, he was getting inducted into the West Virginia Hall of Fame that night. So in Morgantown at Mountaineer Field, Iowa State quarterback Rocco Becht believes the Cyclones have yet to hit their peak during their best start in 86 years. Carson Hansen rushed for 3 scores. Becht threw a touchdown pass, and number 11 Iowa State beat West Virginia 28-16 on Saturday night. The Cyclones now are 6-0, 3-0 in the Big 12, opened the season with 6 wins for the first time since 1938. I feel we haven't played our best game yet as a whole. Special teams, defense, and offense, said Rocco Becht. The goal is finding ways to get better each and every single week. Hansen, the running back, is a sophomore. He scored on an 11-yard run in the second quarter, finished with 96 yards rushing, one shy of his career high he set last week against Baylor. He's a bruiser. You got to see this kid run. He ran for a total of 67 yards during injury-filled freshman season. And Becht said for him consistently to play the way he has the last couple of years, it's awesome to watch. West Virginia 3-3 now, 2-1 was held to 148 yards rushing against the league's top defense after amassing 389 yards on the ground a week ago at Oklahoma State. The Mountaineers were hurt by several high snaps that threw off their timing and runs parallel to the line of scrimmage. And in the second half, when it was winning time, we didn't win, said West Virginia coach Neal. We struggled to get him into rhythm. You know, and I was reading after the game on this, and there's rumblings out there that West Virginia should fire Neil Brown, but I don't see that happening. He's a staple out there. So here's the thing with Rocco Becht now, the quarterback for Iowa State. He was 18 to 26, 265 yards and 1 TD. Becht's father Anthony Beck was honored on the field after the first half for his induction into the West Virginia Sports Hall of Fame. He played tight end for the Mountaineers from 1996 to 1999 and 11 seasons in the NFL. You couldn't ask for a greater night for his family, Iowa State coach Matt Campbell said. Rocco Beck, the son of Anthony Beck, said he wished he could have been there with his dad, but I had bigger things going on to win the game. I love it. His dad's getting honored and getting into the West Virginia Hall of Fame, and he had bigger and better things going on to win the game. The mindset of a football quarterback. You got to love it. So takeaways from this game, the Cyclones answers the challenge on both sides of the ball and winning their seventh straight road game. Beck played smart and efficient, and the nation's sixth-best scoring defense was stout again. For West Virginia, Mountaineers, many two mistakes at key times and now have lost 8 consecutive games to ranked opponents. And West Virginia's game has another home game next week versus Kansas State on Saturday night. So that's the college scene. There was a lot going on. 3 games. We have Marcus Los Great Salute is in the chat. Salute, Mr. Marcos. How are you, sir? Thanks for joining in. All right, let's take a break. This show flew by. Come back. We're going to do Penguins hockey. There are 4 games into the season. I'm going to give you the record, what's been going on. And we have, of course, we have Evgeny Malkin with 2 milestones out of those 4 games. And he is leading the NHL in points at this point. So we will be right back after this. This is the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
The roar of the crowd, the drama and pageantry, the adrenaline rush and decadence of the world of professional wrestling. Join yours truly, the SoCal Saint, for the best pro wrestling podcast going today, the IE Wrestling Show, exclusively on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Join us every Wednesday from 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, every Wednesday, the IE Wrestling Show. It's just too sweet.
Yes, sir. Like he says in that drop, just too sweet. It is too sweet of a show. Check out the SoCal Saint. That's our boy Martine here on IE Sports Radio with the wrestling show. If you're into wrestling, check his show out. He's got a great show going on there. All right, let's get back to the Yinzer Report here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And we're going to get into some hockey. Pittsburgh Penguin hockey is back. Danny Mann, yeet. Yeah, that's a slogan for the SoCal State. His boy Jimmy Uso, or Jay Uso. I'm sorry, Jimmy's the brother. All right, so let's get into the Penguins here. They started the season last week, last Tuesday, I believe, when we did our show last week was their first game, and they were at the PBG Paints Arena. Again, say that fast 5 times. And they played the New York Rangers. And if I tell you this game was over within like 8 minutes of the first period, go back and check the game. It was. They lost 6-0. The crowd was booing. Like after the first period, they were booing the Penguins. No goals in their first game. You could see in the after the booing, the team after the first 20 minutes, the fans, they were gone by the third period. You could see all the seats, the colors of the seats was empty. Tristan Jarry was in net. He did not have a good game. They had 31 shots on goal. They were 0 for 3 on the power play. And I don't know. It was just a bad sign, that first game. They came back the next night. They went to Detroit. Now they went on a 3-game road trip, and they came up with a nice 6-3 win. They had 28 shots on goal. They were 1 for 2 on the power play. And rookie goalie Joel Bloomquist. Remember I mentioned him in a show a long time ago, just as the season was ending, and I did a little after season thing. I said to keep an eye out for this kid because he's going to make the team, and he might start getting some games in more than just a backup role. So he had his first career NHL win. Recently acquired former New York Islander Anthony Beauvillier had 2 goals. Drew O'Connor and Marcus Peterson also scored. Eric Carlson scored, and Kevin Hayes scored his first goal as a Pittsburgh Penguin. Crosby and Malkin had 2 assists apiece. Malkin played in his 800. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Malkin played. It was not that he played. He recorded his 800 assist. So that was the milestone for him. He had 800. He has 800 career assists. They went to Toronto 2 days later, and they were at Toronto again, and they lost 4-2. 23 shots on goal, 1 for 4 on the power play. And I guess Mike Sullivan gave Bloomquist another chance, and he took the loss. Letang had a power play goal. Ricard Raquel had his first goal. Malkin, another 2 assists, and Crosby 1. So, like I said, Evgeny Malkin versus Toronto recorded point number 1,300. He becomes only the 37th player in NHL history to reach the milestone. So 4 games in now, we got Evgeny Malkin racking up milestones. And if you remember, I did a show. We have all those things about Sidney Crosby that could happen this year if he goes on and has a tremendous season. So we're monitoring all that this year on the Yinzer Report for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Malkin, like I said, versus Detroit, he had his 800 assist in that game. So now last night they played. They were again on the road. This was the 3rd game in 4 nights, and they were at Montreal with a 6-3 win. They trailed 3-2 going into the 3rd period. Tristan Jarry was in net. He had 24 saves. And Malkin had a goal this night. It was an empty netter. And another 2 assists. So that puts Malkin at 7 points. 1 goal, 6 assists. And he is tied for the NHL lead in points at this point after 4 games of play of the Pittsburgh Penguins. So the Penguins are 2-2. They're in the they're right there in the middle of the Metropolitan Division, but it's so early. It's so early. And as Patty Bax mentioned earlier, they will be playing the Sabres coming up. So we'll probably get to that game next week. I'll have a report on that game for you next week. Like I said, next week the Steelers are playing the Jets. It's going to be Sunday Night Football. And then the week after that, I'm heading out to Pittsburgh with the family. We are taking in the Monday night game of the Steelers versus the Giants. I really can't wait to go. It's going to be a special trip The whole family is going. We're all going to the game. We're all going to Pittsburgh. And it's been something that we've been planning on doing for a while, and we finally got the chance to do it. So we'll see what happens there. And baseball is still going on. You got the Mets and Dodgers are playing. No Pittsburgh, but it's still duly noted that the Mets are playing the Dodgers. It's still gonna be a great series. It's 1-1, and you have the Cleveland Guardians, who Jen B is coming up next with the show of the land for Cleveland. I'm sure she'll get into the Cleveland playoffs there, and they play tonight at Yankee Stadium in Game 2. They are down 1-0. So that's it for me. That's the Yinzer report for today, and we're going to leave you at this time. And this has been the Yinzer report, and my name is Ralph Calise. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Thank you for everybody being in the chat, and we'll catch you guys next week. Hopefully the Steelers can win Sunday night, and it's going to be a tough game, but hey, we're home. We gotta take care of that home field advantage. All right, guys, thanks for joining in. Patty Bax, great show. Thank you, Patty. We will talk to you next week. Next Tuesday, 5 p.m., we will be back with the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Good night, and thank you, Pittsburgh.